Hello everyone, Lego is back with a small project in Grubbifreyan 2 again. This is incidentally the second time I've made a blade related Grubbifreyan project, but let's talk about that later. First of all, let's talk about what I'm doing right now. I am outlining the object here, and I am adding some reliefs and some inner lines as well, because I know that it's gonna add a little bit to the overall presentation of this. Nothing too fancy. Some outlines, some border lines, and then I'm just doing a little bit of some power strokes to give it that extra feel, so it doesn't look so flat and boring. Uh, and the details of the dagger is going to be left for later because I just needed the outline, I needed the framework so that I could make my text. So my text here is a little bit simple. There's not a lot to it. I am more or less just writing 3 words here, and I'm not going to spoil exactly what the words are, but it's the name of this particular dagger in both English and its native language. I think, at least it's supposed to be. I'm not an expert, but the bottom line here is it doesn't really matter if you start reading from the top or read from the bottom up, because it's going to be the same piece of text, just in 2 different languages. So I'm not too worried about the reading order here. As long as you start with the focus, which is the handle of the blade, then you're good to go. Now for the Grubbifreyan itself, as I said, this is not the first time I've made a blade related Grubbifreyan 2 project, and it just looks really good in my opinion. You have this central piece of weaponry, takes steals the focus, and then you just have this beautiful text growing out of it, almost like a tapestry weaving behind it as it surrounds the dagger, and it just looks beautiful in my opinion. So I'll probably find an excuse to do this once more at some point in the future. I just need another dagger, another knife, another something, because I adore it. It looks good, and it's fairly easy to make as long as we keep things sweet and simple like his. I'm not going to have to do a lot of planning. I'm not going to do a lot of um, estimating spaces and trying to figure out what goes where, because as simple as this is, it's fairly easy to make everything look beautiful and take up the amount of space that I want it to, even though it is already pretty easy to make everything take up a lot of space. It's manageable enough at this size that I'm not worried about anything. So here we are doing some Grubbifreyan 2. It's been a while since I did something last time with Grubbifreyan, but I still got it, so to speak. Just using a lot of simplified curves, a lot of free-handed lines for some of the modifiers, the leaves, and then for the rest of it is more or less just some snappings used to make some tangential lines to get them to where I need them to be. There's not a lot to it, and as always, Grubbifreyan 2 is just as much about just the appearance rather than the actual text. So you could easily be mistaken for thinking this is just some fancy swirling bits of decoration, and it wouldn't really detract anything from the project. It would just be one dimension less than what it could be. So as always, I'm really happy with that. Not a ton more to talk about in the Grubbifreyan itself. I am a little bit cheeky here in that I am... No, actually, I'm not cheeky. I'm not cheeky. I was going to say I was chaining words together, but I'm actually technically not, because I'm using a dash line here to link the words together. So I'm essentially just cheating a bit and making two words appear as one. So I'm not cheeky. I'm totally within my right to do this, and I'm just about finished at this point with the raw text. Raw text in this instance meaning the text is finished, but it's still without any sort of effects. Now, for simple Grubbifreyan projects, I like to add a little bit of power strokes to the individual stems so that it appears a bit more organic, a lot less flat, and a more more dynamic in a way. So that's what I'm going to be doing in a very short while here. But for now, mostly speaking, this is the text, and I used the surroundings pretty well, filling up space, taking up the amount of space that I had, and now I'm just adding some superficial things with the thicknesses, certain letters, certain words, and as I said, I am now doing the power strokes on the biggest and longest stems. Not every single stem, because that would take more time than I'm willing to invest in this, but the main pieces, the things people notice, the big eye-catching stems and the long lines. I'm adding some simple power strokes to those, and it's amazing how something so simple can do so much for the appearance. And I'm always very, very pleased when I'm looking at it to see the difference it makes just by doing that. Now, I had a bit of a scribble down at the bottom, and I was actually going to save that for last, and I suppose we are at the last segment now. I didn't know for sure if I wanted to do this, but I decided I did want to do this. So this is a third piece of text that is completely separate from all the others, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the specific weapon in question, but it has more to do with the type of weapon it is. So I decided that I wanted to add that to the project as just a sort of extra footnote thing, and I decided to do that in CC. Well, I say decided. Someone in the chat in the Discord community decided. I gave them two options: Timekeepers or CC, and CC won. So this is what I did, and it's just a single word, quickly done, and I did sort of lean into the aesthetics of Doctor's Cut a little bit with that. So I suppose this is some of the more fancy CC you might see around, which I'm very pleased about. Now, for the dagger itself, now we're doing the detail work. Now we have the setup, we have the text. Now it's time to actually do something about the main centerpiece here. So I'm being a little bit cheeky, using some buckets and a little bit of delineation to mark up the different sections. And then I'm giving each of them their own gradient. This is a classic trick to make something appear 2.5 dimensional, if not 3-dimensional outright. I don't think anyone's fooled by that, but it is going to add a lot of depth to the thing while giving me a lot of control over the colors, gradients, the shine, anything really I want. Extra custom shadows, you name it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Some back and forth with the shine a little bit. And the shine of the blade in particular is very important to this project and to the identity of the dagger in question. So it's not even because I wanted to be fancy, it's because I needed it to be there for the project to make sense. So if at this stage you don't know what I'm talking about still, then I'm not going to say anything more. But finishing up with the text, added the union. I had to do a little bit of damage control for the for some of the straight lines there, if you caught it. but otherwise I am good to go. Nothing too fancy, just some bronze, brass, something like that, coloring, and then I wanted to do gold for the bottom text down here to sort of separate it from the rest and make sure that this is make it very clear this is a separate piece of text that's not necessarily important to the main event. And dark blue background centered on the dagger, looked good, looks great. I like the understated simplicity of this thing, and you can still read the text. There's nothing really obscured. It's a very nice piece. It's a nice project. I liked it, and I hope you did too. With that out of the way, I will say thank you for watching, and I'll see you another time. Bye.